Imagine that. What would you do with it? Should we we can auction it?
No.
For charity?
Make a destruction video.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Why do you want to destroy such a work of art?
Throw it off the roof. Hit it with a hammer.
Throw
Full
it.
speed bike over.
Hit it with a hammer while one of us throws it off the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
So someone, or a baseball bat.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy on the roof or you want to be the guy with the bat?
Either one's very, very rewarding.
Guys, we're getting a DW soon, just so you know. It's happening now. This is how we work out the content for this channel. We sort of just sit here and ponder what is the dumbest scenario we can do for you. Hi guys, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to
Properly Wound,
where we offer you a consumer's opinion on everything watch related. You see what I did there? Had a watch. Had a watch in my hand the whole time. And that watch is in the title of this video. It is the Zodiac Super Seawolf in, I guess, a white silver dial. I don't know how else to describe it. It's this very weird off silver sunburst dial. And it's a tour watch. I'm actually part of a tour right now with the IWA group. You've probably seen a lot of reviews of this watch come up. This is the same watch. We had to give our 2 cents as well. I let Adam borrow it before me. I hope you guys don't mind, so he can sort of generate a firm opinion, and obviously now I have it back. But yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about regarding this watch. And I'm hearing a lot of good things. I'm hearing a lot of nice comments about the Jubilee. And, you know, the Jubilee itself is nice, but this clasp over here, I'm pretty sure my mother has jewelry that uses this same system.
Probably.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like as a kid, I remember seeing my mom put on gold bracelets.
That's definitely one of the biggest downfalls of this piece that we'll get to, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to start? You want to do like you had a couple days in the life.
Yeah. I saw it's Sunday now. I got this from you on Friday. So I wore it on Friday, wore it a little bit yesterday. God, this bezel, it takes forever to turn. So initial impression when I first saw it, we met at a cafe, and I saw this piece in person. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it's really cool that it has the sort of throwback vintage heritage look to some of the old, Seawolves, the vintage Seawolves from the 50s and 60s, 70s, I guess, too. I'm not super familiar with Zodiac.
53 was like the launch date
original
for the Seawolf, and yeah, that's sort of what this is modeled after.
Yeah.
We got some fact sheets for you. Hodinkee did a write-up on this watch. Everyone's done a write-up on this watch. It was very impressive when they re-released it. Just so you know now, the group is not privately owned. It was apparently still Swiss-made, and it's owned by the Fossil Group. I believe it's
the Fossil Group.
The Fossil Group.
Where brands go to die.
Hey, Zodiac's coming back strong, dude. I mean, I think they've owned it since 2001, so expect a Zodiac smartwatch soon. We'll see. But guys, why don't we give you some measurements first and foremost before we give you our general opinions.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that first.
What's interesting to note is that this watch, it's been upgraded. It's been king size. Let's just say that. Remember when king size was a thing at Burger King?
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
Really?
No, they don't.
Oh.
You can't king me.
I haven't even seen a Burger King in years.
Well, there's one right down the street, dude.
Oh, nice.
You know what we're eating later. So guys, Zodiac Seawolf. This is the Super Seawolf. This is not the original. The originals were a 35mm case, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they were all 35. They did have steel bezels, but they also had some sort of resin. It might have been Bakelite bezel inserts as well. But this dial and configuration...
Yeah, they definitely had Bakelite ones. Are you talking about the baby blue? And
Yeah,
those are gorgeous.
Other than that, the configuration is almost nearly identical, except it's been modernized in the sense that it's a 39mm case. And I'd like to point out that everyone says it's 39mm, but that's just the width of the bezel, and I'll go ahead and take that measurement for you now. And you'll see here that yes, it is indeed, it's just a little under 39, but if I were to measure the body of the watch, it actually is closer to 38. So if you're like us and enjoy the fit of a 38mm watch, then you'll likely enjoy this. Now, I'm not going to measure the thickness of the watch. I can just tell you that it's 13mm. I measured it earlier. I believe this dimension is 20mm across, if I'm not mistaken. We can actually check that now if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
Just check it with the bracelet.
Yep.
C, 20mm.
20mm.
And you get a glimpse of the glorious in-house STP 111 It's
which is really just an ETA 2824, but they like to
Exactly.
call it the ST, whatever the hell it is.
well, hey, yo, STP 111, dude. These are coming back strong. These movements are like hardcore.
Yeah.
Yes, it is an ETA clone. That's totally fine though, because I mean, if you're gonna copy anyone, that's the movement to copy.
For sure.
The 2824. So that lends to its thickness.
Plus,
being
with
about
this
15.
price range, a Solita or ETA clone is going to be standard amongst anything from like the $500 to $1,500 range. You know what I mean? So
if you wanted a Swiss diver,
Exactly.
And I have to say, I mean, we were seeing prices around $500 for these, right?
yeah, I just looked on eBay and there was one for I think about 500.
Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with the bracelet first, and then we can move on to obviously the case of the watch, and then just daily life.
Yeah, I really enjoy the actual bracelet itself. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the SKX Jubilee, which a lot of people are haters of, but I like it just because it's so comfortable, and it's definitely a step above SKX Jubilee quality.
Well, the defining difference
Big time.
being that it's still a push pin system, right? So much like the SKX.
Yeah.
I don't know if the taper is the same. However, it does look aesthetic. I haven't had a SKX in a while, but I do remember the bracelet tapering very similarly. Obviously,
Yeah,
the
for sure.
SKX bracelet is a 22 millimeter
Yep.
in width. But these have solid center links, so it actually has a
Exactly.
really nice weight to it, and it evens out with the watch very well. I found like with these Jubilees, you can get a really nice, precise fit with the right clasp with nice micro adjustments, and that's where we step into the clasp territory. As I mentioned earlier, this is like a typical bracelet clasp, like a piece of jewelry would have this adorned on it, and it's actually a very simple mechanism. I can sort of walk you guys through it here. You'll notice that there's a little notch in that clasp there. Basically, you lead this bar through it, and then you close up the clasp.
It's actually a lot harder to really do it when it's on your wrist than it looks when Patrick's doing this right here, by the way, guys.
I made it look very easy.
To actually get it and then sort of loop it on through your wrist, or loop it on while it's on the wrist, is a little bit more difficult. And so, like I said, the Jubilee is really great. It definitely feels great on the wrist. It has great on the wrist. It has a little bit more heft than the SKX. But for me, that clasp sort of, I wouldn't say it ruined it, but it definitely downgraded it a little bit.
Are you wearing a chronograph? Let's time me.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's
Ready?
time it. Guys, live
Ready?
action. Are you doing
On a speedy.
Do it
On a
on the
speedy.
cam. Okay,
Ready?
so-
Set. Go.
Okay.
All right. Oh,
It's gonna happen. Done.
All right.
What do we get?
7 seconds. Not too bad.
Hey, yeah.
Not too bad. Okay.
See? Do you like dramatic moments like that?
But
Only on
to
this
be
channel.
fair, go ahead and try and snap this bad boy on really quickly,
Oh my
and
God.
let's see how long that takes. It's gonna take about half a second to just snap.
I
Anyways,
swear, this is a Zodiac video, but we will
anyways.
be talking about this a little later on. Yes, this is much easier to snap on.
point being, they definitely took some cost-cutting measures with that little. They could have easily done a nice butterfly clasp. You know what I mean? Or even just a fold-over clasp or whatever. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
I've never
It
seen a
feels-
nice watch with a clasp like that ever.
Yeah.
Like you said, it reminds me of like my mom's old $10 watches or something like that, or jewelry. But I've never
Yeah.
seen like a nice watch that had a clasp like that.
But on that
So-
note, I mean, like once it's on the wrist, it's great.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Very, very luckily, with Jubilee links, because they're not that wide, you can get a good fit with this. It's very easy to
Yeah.
obtain a good fit, but I really do prefer clasp with micro adjustments. I mean, honestly, that's my favorite way to go.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the downfalls with my Grand Seiko. It's sort of, it's like hit or miss. I have to wear it a little bit more loose than I would like because there's no micro adjustments, and it just so happens that the way this case is measured out, it fits on my wrist nicely.
For sure.
But on that note, I do want to get one last dimension for you guys, and that is the taking it off is even taking longer. Jeez Louise, should have timed that. I want to get that last dimension, which is the lug to lug here, just so you know how big it's going to fit on the wrist, and it is roughly 48 millimeters. And if you don't mind doing like a wrist shot for them, because you're not wearing anything right now.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll put her on right now. So overall, I do really love, like I said, how it's heritage inspired. The case itself, What do you think about the case finish as I'm putting this on? Really?
I like it. I mean, it's nice.
See, here we go. This is what happens when you try to put on. This is what happens when I try and put it on. It just gets stuck. There we go. God, so
Sorry,
this is like 20 seconds for. I don't know how you did this so quickly.
I lay the watch flat out on my wrist, man. Well, you should have timed Adam instead. Wow.
Oh my! There we go.
Gosh.
30 seconds later.
The
There we go.
drama here.
It's snapped on.
Well, let's
okay.
see. Now this is the best part because it actually looks really good on the wrist.
Yeah, it is. And the proportions are perfect on this. So on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, I'll do a sort of far away shot for you guys, so you guys can see total body. It wears really well, and it's not a black dial. It has the white dial with the steel, so it does appear a little bit larger than it actually is, which is always great for like a 38mm watch. For some of you that like bigger watches. But yeah, what do you think about the finishing and all that?
It's nice. It's a very simple design. I mean, a lot of these vintage divers, they weren't really. It was more about the utility than it ever was the aesthetic. And some watches are beautiful in their simplicity. This watch is just very simple. You know, it's not jaw-droppingly gorgeous. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty biased when it comes to my watches. I want to enjoy looking at them as much as I enjoy wearing them. I've got this example here of like a vintage diver that I really enjoy looking at because I think its utilitarian nature, the way it looks, the way it's been cut and shaped, is absolutely gorgeous. And maybe we'll talk about this vintage Seiko on the show later. But yeah, that to me is beautiful to look at. But the Zodiac itself, for someone, you know what's funny, but someone mentioned recently in the comments that they don't like circular hour markers on their watches. Oh. And you're kind of SOL when it comes to that because most dive watches have circular hour markers.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable. It's really unavoidable. But this is a nice alternative with a baton arrangement with a unique triangle setup at the 12, 6, and 9. I don't know if they've ever provided a non-date version with a 3, which would be really sick. But it's unique to this watch. I'm reluctant to say this, but I think they are the first to rock that look.
Probably, yeah, especially with the old vintage Zodiacs.
Yeah.
I can't agree anymore. The batons, I mean, is pretty unique in itself. You know what I mean? With the dive watch, a lot of people opt for the circle indices, but for sure that 6, 9, 12, those triangles are something that really stand out and make this watch what it is. You know?
Because to me, unfortunately, like the case itself is, it's just.
It's pretty bland, to be honest.
It's very bland. It's not exciting to look at.
You can even see they try to do a brushed and polished contrast, but even that's just not really done that well. You know, it almost just kind of looks like the whole thing's sort of like half brushed, kind of.
This is what Adam's talking about.
Sort of half-ass brushed, half-ass polished.
The tops of the lugs are polished, right? High polished, and then they meet these brushed end links, and then of course the center links are polished. So you get a really nice contrast there between the brushing and the polishing. But you get this very just, simple case design, and it's brushed downwards, very simple crown, unsigned. And again, I think the thing that makes this most exciting is that dial face, and of course that handset, and that handset is definitely original to Zodiac's Seawolf range. I absolutely love it. A lot of the vintage ones, you'll notice that the loom gets knocked out over time. I don't know if that's just due to rigorous use, or if that's just a fault in that sort of hand design, but only time will tell. This bezel, I love the way that the minutes are indicated on it. It's very simple. You have the 12 o'clock pip, and then of course you have that 30-minute mark at the bottom. And it's a little odd to me because normally, I'll grab this other vintage diver. Look at the 30 here, look at the 30 here. The 30 is upside down. It's right side up, but it's upside down. Because if I were to move this bezel around,
I didn't notice that.
Do you know what I mean? This is very non-traditional, and I don't know if it's this way on the vintage ones, but you'll notice that the 30 is actually upside down.
God damn it, Fossil.
Yeah, how could you mess that up? It's just very odd. I mean, you look at any watch, and you'll notice that the numbers are turned inward on the dial. That's just
even on a GMT from Omega.
Yeah,
upside down as well.
I don't know if anyone else has. No one's made that critique. It's just an odd design choice. I don't know. Like, why break tradition? Although it does make for a unique bezel, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I don't really like it at all.
Just to touch, guys, too, on the finishing that we were talking about, why we are kind of spoiled. You can see Asuma that's in a similar price point, actually in a lower bracket.
Even less
you can see
used.
the contrast on the finishing. I know we always talk about Seiko, and I have plenty of these on the table right now, but this is just a perfect example of finishing that you would maybe kind of expect from something in the price point of the Zodiac with the contrast, with the high polish and the brush. So.
Yeah, well, one last thing I'll touch on is the dial itself is rather beautiful. It's a very faint sunburst finish. And again, it's sort of this pearlescent white.
Yeah, it has a
to say
sunburst
silver. Yeah, and it's really beautiful to look at. It's easy on the eyes. It's very easy to read. It's very legible. But again, it's just not a watch I honestly get excited about. I'm going to wear it around, but it just doesn't feel inspired. I almost feel like I'd rather get one of those vintage ones at 35.
Well, I think the problem is you got your Seiko 6105 -8000, and now nothing is cool anymore because it's got to be a vintage piece.
Yeah.
Or something like a Grand Seiko. You know what I mean? It's like vintage or high end.
Okay, this is not a comparison video, but honestly, like, which one is more visually interesting to you guys? Actually, comment in the comment section down below, because this is a vintage diver. Again, this would have been 35 back in the day, but it is aesthetically very similar to its original state. Which one is more exciting to you?
Well, to play devil's advocate, the 6105 does just look like a typical standard dive watch.
Oh, it does!
As opposed to the silver dial with the triangle indices of the Zodiac, you know what I mean? So you could get people going both ways.
It's got good competition then.
Yeah.
It's got good competition. Guys, I would rate this a 7 out of 10. Accurate representation of a vintage diver, heritage piece. Decent sort of, I want to say knockoff movement. Reproduction at a 28-24 by Fossil Group. So you know if it's done well, it's going to be reliable.
I'll give it a 6.67.
7?
Yeah.
I guess.
6.67.
You see, that's where you're leaning. Yeah, I hate to say it, guys. It just doesn't get me excited like a lot of other divers, and I don't like the design choice of the bezel. Again, if that's true on the heritage piece, I'm gonna pause the video.
Sorry, Fossil Group.
Wow, you followed the design cues to the T.
Yeah.
The original had the upside down 30. I'm calling it's right side up, but it just feels wrong. I don't know. It just feels wrong. Oh, God, I don't know.
That is kind of weird.
I started with divers.
It's not a traditional tool that way.
Yeah. It's sort of a glamour watch.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Who is this for?
It's a good entry-level diver, for sure. Okay. It's competition. I wouldn't say competition, but it's kind of like a first step into getting into heritage diver territory, like a Tudor Black Bay.
Sub 1K.
Or maybe, or an Aura 65. But like at this point, I would just say like go with the Aura 65.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you could find those for under $1,000.
Oh my gosh, and the variety, there's like a whole diversity of like different color arrangements.
Or even like a Longines like heritage diver, or the Legend diver, the super compressor style. There's a lot of watches that are just a little bit more expensive than this, but I think worth probably the additional
the premium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's been a huge trend as of late. Having heritage pieces come out, it's almost like we've run out of designs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just over these last few years, I mean, there's clearly a market for it. I'm still excited for the Rado Hyperchrome Captain Cook.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then of course with the 62 Moss just reissued in like 4 different flavors. You have a limited edition brown dial, the black dial that's in the smaller case size, and then you have the blown up like 42.5 millimeter 62s that are out there. I'm calling them 62s. They're SBDC.
Let's just call it
051 or something like that, or SPB. There's different serials depending on your region.
Yeah, I have no idea what they are, to be honest.
Anyways,
they're
great. This is a trend that's clearly here to stay, so pick your flavor. We're lucky to have like a market ripe with options, and of course, sub $500. You know, I don't genuinely think you can get something as nice a build quality, but again, it's just not exciting. Oh, by the way, guys, this back crystal is sapphire, the top crystal is sapphire. Forgot
to mention one very, very important thing.
God, we suck. We suck at this.
Yeah, no, the crown is very sharp. So I was riding my bike, just rocking this thing, and even just walking around after, and the crown is really sharp and actually digs into your wrist a lot. So you can just show the crown real quick too. You can see how sort of straight edge those are.
Oh gosh, shield your eyes. Oh my god.
Yeah, it hurts. So keep that in mind, guys.
I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, he was hospitalized for this. You guys don't know.
They had to cut my arm off. Just kidding. Yeah, no, but yeah, it's a very, very sharp crown.
Guys, if you like this video, you likely prefer Rolex or Blancpain. If you dislike this video, that's okay too. Guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. We've been doing this for a while. If you've been a long time viewer of the channel, we get more views than we have subscribers sometimes. Guys, I know there's viewers out there that haven't subscribed, so please do.
They're haters, that's why.
Haters, dude.
They love to watch us, but love to hate us.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow, Adam's in a dark place today. At any rate, guys, stay with us for the rest of the week. We've got more content like this coming out twice a week, 2 videos every week. We try to commit to that. At any rate, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.